Before I go here, I want to say this. The powers that be understand the prophecies. Let me make this clear, brothers and sisters. The banks control the earth. China and the Asians are not going to go against the European powers. And the reason why is that their economy is tied to the bank's economy. And because China owns so much debt, if they destroy the European powers, they would destroy their own money source. So that's never going to happen. But America itself is being sacrificed. That's the sacrificial lamb in all this. The European powers are sacrificing America. They're the sacrifice. So that all the blame will go on America, not the European powers. And that's the reason they came up with the UN. The UN is a base so that they can make NATO, which is an international army. And with this international army, they would have bases all around the world. Okay? It would be an international army that will eventually take over certain places, like they took over parts of the army of Egypt. They took over certain parts of the army of Afghanistan, Pakistan. Now they've taken over, they're looking to put their bases in Libya. What's going on here, brothers and sisters, is that the NATO army is now preparing for their last war to go against our people who's going to be in the wilderness. That's what this is all about. That's what all these army bases are dealing with. And even when America is destroyed, they understand they have to fulfill that last piece to destroy Jacob before the coming of Christ. We're putting it all together for you, brothers and sisters. So they're telling people in the church that all the nations are lining up to fight Israel. And you have to protect Israel because the nations are aligning to fight them. That's a lie. Israel is financing all the armies that's going to come against us. Yes. They're putting the bases in all these areas you see right now because they know Bible prophecy. Listen to this, because the last time I brought this out over a year ago, they erased it. They took it down immediately. They didn't want no one to see it because they need to work behind that facade of secrecy in order to do what they're doing. And they don't want the people to help us get the promise and to protect us in that time of trouble. Let's go to Ezekiel 38. Read the first verse.
Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 1.
Read.
And the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
Now Gog is what you would call the chief president of Asia, because we know these are sons of Japheth. So yeah, China do play a prophetic part of this. Now some people say, well, it's talking about Russia too. The original Russians were not Caucasian. All right? The original Russians were Asians. Russia is just what you would call a European buffer in Asia, between Asia and the Middle East. But they are part of the 10 horns. Don't be deceived with Russia. This is talking about the Asians here. Read.
Verse 3. And say, Thus saith the Most High Power, Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine armies.
Now when you put hook in their jaws, that means if you got a horse running this way, if you put a hook in his jaws, you will turn him around and make him go a way he don't want to go. So you have to realize China is one of the very few armies that's not in the Middle East right now. But based on what America and Israel is about to do to Iran, it's going to force the Chinese army to come down there too. That's the hook in their jaws. They're going to be pulled into this war. the Valley of Jehoshaphat, which is actually the place where all the nations will eventually be judged when Christ returns. But when they get down there, they're going to be looking to destroy us. This is the key piece a lot of people don't see. When they went into Libya, they were beheading our people in Libya. These armies are being prepared to kill us. And that's what I'm putting out there so y'all can understand. The Israel that they are coming up against is the real children of Israel, not the state of Israel that was placed there as a proxy in 1948. Read.
And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, which is the Medes, which is Iran. Go ahead. Ethiopia, and Libya.
That lets you know that eventually the Western world is going to take over Libya. Based on what we see in here, they're going to take over Libya. Read.
Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmets. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah, of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepared for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them.
Be thou a guard unto them. Unto who? Let's see. Read.
After many days shalt thou be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel.
Against the mountains of Israel. Read.
Which have been always waste.
Which have been always waste. It's talking about God's people that have been desolate since 70 AD. It's not talking about the Israel over there today. They're not waste. They own the banks. They own everything you see. They're going to try to come against us. This is Jacob's trouble it's talking about here. Read.
But it is brought forth out of the nations.
But it was brought forth out of the nations. That means the Israelites started leaving the places that they were enslaved in and started going into a certain area. Read.
And they shall dwell safely, all of them.
And they shall dwell safely, all of them. So there will be a safe place for the children of Israel, according to prophecy. Read.
Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Most High Power. It shall also come to pass that at that same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought.
So they're going to think an evil thought. What will they think to do against our people who have fled these other nations and are safe? Read.
And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages.
This is how you know it's not talking about Israel. Israel is not an unwalled village. They have guns, they have military, they have a port, they have protection all around Israel. You can't walk around Israel without seeing guns. So these people here that are safe are being protected by the Most High in unwalled villages. This is talking about those who have fled. Read.
I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates.
We're not going to need bars nor gates. The Most High will be our protector in the wilderness. And this they know. Read.
To take a spoil and to take a prey.
They think they're going to take us down again. It's not going to happen. Read.
To turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods.
So the Most High is going to make sure we have cattle and goods. Yeah, we're going to be pilgrims, but once we're in that last area, the Most High is going to have those Middle Easterns and the other nations give us everything we need to sustain. And the Most High is going to be a protection, a hedge around us during this period in the wilderness. Read.
That dwell in the midst of the land, Sheba and Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish, with all the young lions thereof, shall say unto thee, Art thou come to take a spoil?
Are y'all coming to try to take us down again? You think we went through all this hell throughout since we fell in 70 AD to fall again? It's not going to happen. Read.
Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold?
So we're going to find that silver and that gold that Joseph buried in the desert. We're going to find it. It tells you in the book of Jasher the areas in which Joseph and the Israelites buried gold that we would get on our way into the wilderness. None of the nations can get it. It's going to belong to us. See, they didn't think we would go into these books. Okay, they put so much stuff out there. Maybe we'll get them on crack or something. Okay, maybe we'll get them drunk and high. Just give them a, let's put a pole in the middle of the room. Let's put them there. They're not going to read. The Most High gave us this understanding because we are going to get it all back. And there's nothing any nation, anybody out there can do, nothing you can do about this. We are relentless and we will not stop until we get what was promised. That's why we said when other people coming in to spy us and look at what we're doing and look at what we're teaching, listen. We said, listen, don't block anyone. Let everybody through. Because this thing is going to be fulfilled and you will see it with your own eyes. We will get what the Most High promised. And before it's all said and done, everyone is going to know that the Bible is real. Read.
To take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil.
They think they're going to take a great spoil. You read the 14th verse.
Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto God, thus saith the Most High Power, and that day when my people of Israel dwelleth safely.
When my people of Israel dwelleth safely, read.
Shalt thou not know it?
Did y'all not know that the Most High was guiding them to come to the mount where he was? Did y'all know that? See, and this is why they try to stop people from traveling right now. Not because of some so-called terrorists. These are, listen, the underwear bomber is somebody that the government, got on a plane. These are guys who were in jail, on parole, and they were paid by the government for these public events. This guy got on a plane with no passport. That's not possible. Anyone that goes, that travels, know that's not possible. It was the government, the CIA, that got the underwear bomber on the plane. Okay? Just like that bomber, that so-called Christmas tree bomber in Texas. In Denver. He was also paid by government. They was telling them that it's just a fake proxy drill so that to prepare people for terrorism. He thought he was doing a favor. And they were setting them up so that they can say that he was a black terrorist. There's no terrorism going on, brothers and sisters. The only terrorist that's going on is your government. They're trying to stop you from traveling. They know the prophecies. They know that you will receive power with the Most High when you get out of your condition and leave your captivity and depend on the Most High. In Esau's government, you're going down. You're going down. All the nations who don't believe in this truth and don't follow the disciples and the apostles that the Most High set up, you're going down with your government. Thus saith the Lord. The book of Obadiah. Read it. You either get with Christ or you fall with the curses of Edom. So the nations are looking to come against us. The Jewish people hijack that and say that they're the people who was prophesied to go back into Israel so that all nations can protect them, when really they are financing the armies that will come against us in the wilderness. Brothers and sisters, we put it together for you. Research it yourself. It cannot be disputed. This is the truth, brothers and sisters. This is the time. And this lesson was called the war because you're in it. They're going to stir Iran up, like it says in Isaiah the 13th chapter. And he's going to go against Babylon and make it desolate. And the powers who control the world don't care because America is expendable anyway. So I hope that help you understand a few things.